For people that don't know about Calibre, would you mind
Mhm.
sharing a little bit about Calibre with us? Like just letting us know what Calibre is for people that just know Kitty, right? Just a
Okay.
quick overview.
So Calibre is an ebook management program. So ebooks are basically electronic books. So what Calibre does is it allows you to manage a collection of ebooks. Now, Calibre is mainly meant for somebody who's really into books, who wants to manage their own collection. If all you do is read one book a year, is no need for a Calibre. But if you're a serious reader, you read a lot of books, you have a collection, you like to search it, etc., then Calibre is for you. So its main interface is just a collection of books. You can change it to show covers, if you prefer that, um, and so on. It's like Kitty. It's very much a Swiss Army penknife. That's my philosophy in software. So it has a ton of features. You can edit the metadata of books. So you can change the title. You can change the author, series, rating, whatever. You can download metadata. So there's a plugin system which allows Calibre to go and download metadata from different websites, Google and so on, and a whole bunch of other plugins. And Calibre has over 300 plugins, I think, at present. So that's the edit metadata. You can convert the books to different formats. So sadly, there's no standardization in the book space. EPUB is supposedly the standard format, but then Amazon has its own for proprietary format, and then the Kobo, which is another ebook reading device with its own format called KEPUB. So as you can see, Calibre allows you to convert to all these various formats, including a whole bunch of legacy formats like Lit is an ancient ebook format, but Microsoft introduced. LRF was the ebook format, Sony's proprietary ebook format, and so on. You can even convert to Word documents if you like, to and from actually. Um, but so that's convert, and there's view, there's Calibre has a built-in viewer, so you can view books. This is in dark mode, so it's white on black, but normally it's black and white. So you can view books, and the viewer is extremely capable. It has text to speech, and it has a pretty sophisticated search function. So you can search by regex, you can search for whole words, nearby words, contains, blah blah blah. So it's a good. It's of course highlighting. You can highlight things, um,
Add notes and
so
all that stuff.
add
Okay.
notes, highlight stuff, all that stuff. It's got everything that you would possibly want to do. And as with all my software, it's extremely customizable. It's got like a
hmm
huge set of preferences that you can get
So
into. So
it even has like a built-in Kindle app, we could say, right? So you can read, annotate, do everything with your books
yes,
there.
yes, and not only. So I've shown you this running, in a software on your desktop, but Calibre also has something called a content server. So you can start the content server. No space to differences. So start content server, and then if you go to I actually don't know how this is currently set up. Not, but you can you can access your libraries sort of in a browser. This is a browser. This is actually Vice, which is my own personal browser, but you can use it access it in any standard browser. So you can access a collection on a browser. You can read the books, the same book that I was reading in the Calibre viewer. You can uh, read it in your browser.
hmm
So you can change pages, blah blah blah, whatever. And this works, on mobile phones and devices.
So,
So
so
as well,
if you expose it correctly, you could access it from any device in your local
any
network.
device in your local network or even over the internet if you want to. It supports authentication, so on. So you can
Mm,
expose it over the internet, and when you're traveling, you can read books. That's up to you what you
awesome.
want to do with it.
Now,
So
quick question. Quick question before you move on. Are you able to? Is there a Docker container version of Calibre that I can host on a server?
there probably is. There is actually, but I personally, so Calibre comes as its own self-contained binary. Well, not a single binary, but a tar file which you untar into one directory. And all you need to do is untar that tar file, and then you can run the server without it. It's for all its dependencies bundled. You don't actually need Docker. So you can go to Uh, see,
So I can run it in a headless server, no GUI, just
yes, no GUI, just run the server. There's an executable called, let me show you, Calibre server. So you can run the server, and that same server is running now, but via a command line program. So you can install this on any Linux machine and run the server and access it from anywhere. And in fact, there are other projects, third-party projects that make their own Calibre servers. The most popular is something called Calibre Web. So you can use that instead with your Calibre library if you want to. If you don't like the look of the defaults or whatever.
mm,
So there are a lot of options. So yeah, where was I? So one other feature I'd like to highlight in Calibre, which some people don't know about, is the fetch news feature. So the fetch news feature basically allows you to download news from news websites, publicly accessible websites. So you can see that there's a whole bunch of, there are thousands of these. These are based on the scripts called recipes that are maintained by Calibre users and me. And so they go out and they scrape the website and they download the news, and you can read the news as an ebook. So this is nice because it gives you a distraction free sort of environment in which to read the news. You can't comment and you can't get distracted by external links and so on, and you can just
mhm,
focus on the actual content. So I do that. I mean, I personally, like I said, I read a lot, so I download 3 or 4 of these publications every week, and I read them. And in fact, one of my happy side effects is my daughter also uses Calibre to download publications that she likes to read and reads them. So that was something kind of cool as well to see for myself. Um, so yeah, that's the main headline features of Calibre. Well, it's of course just the tip of the iceberg, but I think that's
Now,
suitable for
my wife
yeah.
has a Kindle, and
Mhm.
sending books to that thing is not something that I enjoy, because I have to send it to an email or I have to download an app. And it's just, I keep forgetting how to send books to it. If I have to send a book
Mhm.
right now, I don't know how to do it. I don't remember. I have no
Okay,
idea.
so let me give you a demo. I have a Kindle somewhere here. Let me just pick it up. Okay, so this is a Paperwhite, a Kindle Paperwhite. Can you see it?
Yeah, yeah, I see
Yeah.
it.
So
Yep.
so all I need to do is use good old USB cable. There's no network. No Amazon is not sleeping on me. My Kindle stays in airplane mode all the time. I'm plugging it into my laptop.
Huh?
If you look at the screen,
Yep, I see it.
uh, yeah, it'll show up in a minute. It takes just a few
Have
seconds to connect.
you?
You see, it's
Oh, yeah.
connected.
Yep.
Can you?
Hmm.
Yeah. So you just click on the book. Say I want to read The Importance of Being Earnest. You just click on this book and then click Send to Device, and Canva will ask you, convert the book to the format for the device because it's not pre-converted. Click yes, and that's it.
It
The
will
book is on the
automatically convert
device.
it to whatever Amazon's format
Yes.
is. Mobi, I
Yes,
think.
yes, yes, yes. Mobi is the old one. Amazon actually has 3 formats. Let's not get into that, but it'll convert it into the most appropriate format for your Kindle and put it on the Kindle automatically. You can see the list of books on the device. You can, delete them, whatever, can't transfer into your library and so on. Um, so it's very simple, as you saw. You just plug it in, you click the book, and you click a button. And in
Hmm.
fact, one of my happy things I'm happy about with Calibre is I get a lot of positive feedback from elderly people, and
Hmm.
uh, because ebook readers are a big boon for elderly people because you can make the font size bigger. In fact, I do that myself. I don't know if you can see
As you
this on the
age,
screen, but yeah, as
as
I
we
age, my
age,
eyes have
yeah.
my eyes have gotten weaker, and so I don't like to wear specs while reading on my Kindle, so I make the font size big. So when I started, I didn't need that. Now I do. So,
Yeah.
so, so. But the point is, I get feedback from a lot of non-technical people who are, not so comfortable with computers, saying that they really find Calibre easy to use, and they're able to use it. And a lot of people, introduce their parents to it or whatever. I introduce my own parents, and
Mm.
they're self-sufficient and they can figure it out on their own.
Yeah. So
That's really
it's a good
a good
app
feeling.
if you can figure it out. Yeah.
Yeah.
It has happened to me as well. My font size used to be smaller. It increased this last year. My resolution also increased. So it's just going to get bigger and bigger from now on. I have a question for you. Have you gotten in trouble with Sony or with Amazon or any of these companies due to this tool?
No, not at all. I don't. So Calibre itself doesn't have any, say, DRM breaking facilities or whatever. There are third-party plugins that do this. Calibre itself doesn't do anything. So I never got into trouble. In fact, in the early days, Sony wanted to buy Calibre. I remember going to their San Diego offices and talking to them about it. I don't know, but it didn't end up happening. But yeah, no, I've never gotten into trouble.
No.
Anyone.
Didn't they get upset when you reverse engineered their protocol and all that stuff? Sony?
They were really happy. So, Calibre ended up being a better program than the proprietary reading program, which often happens, when hardware companies are not good to make software or whatever. So,
Hmm.
and so they were happy because, Calibre was making their device more useful, increasing their sales. They had no problem with it. Um,
Mm.
and in fact, so the PRS 500, the first one they released, had their own proprietary protocol, but later on they changed and the later models used the standard USB mass storage protocol. And so, you know, there was no need for reverse engineering their protocol. And they started supporting the EPUB format and they didn't have to use the proprietary format. So that was, a good thing. And yes, no, they never had any issues with Calibre.
Oh,
Same
with
with Amazon.
Calibre,
I think
okay.
I've had only, I think, one interaction with somebody at Amazon, which was about some technical issue with the look for ads. No problems.
Oh, okay, okay. Now, well, Rumen in the comments says that genius, that is what happens when a software developer solves problems for something that they're using. You use your tools, right? That's like one of
Very
the,
much.
yeah. So
I
you
make
get,
I make them because I use them myself. So
yeah,
that's the reason I make them.
that's the reason they're good actually. Now, do you ever get in trouble with Kitty because of the language that you decided to use Python? Since we hear nowadays everyone is like Rust, Rust, Rust. You just hear that everywhere, right?